Can I see how many people, this is their first Traffic and Conversion Summit again? Wow, that's amazing. First of all, thank you, welcome. I hope you're having a fantastic time. This event is near and dear to my heart. I can tell you, 8 years ago when we launched Traffic and Conversion Summit in Austin, Texas, 258 people, we could have fit the whole event in this room about 4 times. So to see where it's at now is incredibly humbling. I'm so thankful to all the repeat attendees, and I'm always very happy to see new first-time attendees and hope to see your faces again for years to come. That being said, what I want to talk to you today about is email marketing. We're going to do email marketing in a nutshell, really discuss how to use email marketing to generate and increase your leads and sales. So just a few high points about me. I did launch the Traffic and Conversion Summit and grew it from 258 attendees to just over 4,500 this year. Co-founded and launched DigitalMarketer in 2011. Oddly enough, we launched DigitalMarketer on a stage just like this in Austin, Texas at the 3rd year of Traffic and Conversion Summit. So Traffic and Conversion Summit is actually an older brand than DigitalMarketer itself. Again, that's why this event is so very special to everyone on the DigitalMarketer team. I did create the Email Marketing Mastery course and certification, and as Kari mentioned, in the last 12 months have generated well over 20 million in revenue just from our email marketing efforts alone. So, next, what to expect from this presentation, because email is a big topic, right? I'm glad we called this email in a nutshell, but still, I want to make sure that everyone here has the appropriate expectation. The Email Marketing Mastery course and certification is just about 12 hours worth of content, and I can tell you it was very, very hard to distill email marketing down into 12 hours. So doing it in 45 minutes, you'll have to forgive me if I speak very, very quickly, but I want to make sure that you guys have the appropriate expectation and know what I hope you leave with. So the first thing is an understanding of the role that email marketing plays in growing your business, right? How can you use email marketing to hit your goals to grow your business? To learn the 5 phases of email marketing and understand the goal and the sequence of each phase. To determine who on your team, right? Who on your team should own the email marketing role. Maybe it's you, maybe it's not, but someone on your team, someone in your organization needs to be responsible for owning this role. It can literally change the dynamics of your business. It can expedite growth, but if it is a tribal responsibility, you're starting from a failing position. And finally, I hope that I can show you how you can use our training and certification to deploy an effective and profitable email marketing strategy in your business. Does that sound good? All right, let's get started. Let's start with the role of email marketing, because it plays a really big role. So email marketing can be used for branding, for referrals, for retention, for engagement, for acquisition, for reactivation, for direct sales, which is something we've been using it a lot more of, and for generating traffic, right? Email marketing is one of the most versatile tools that any business has in their toolbox to use to grow their business. But the overall goal of email marketing is to assist and expedite in moving a customer from one stage of the value journey to the next. So think about that for a second, because one of the most common questions that I get when I'm speaking to anyone about email marketing is, well, where should I start? Where should I focus my email marketing efforts? And the answer is, where's the most concentrated demographic of your customer base getting stuck in your value journey? Right? Where are they getting stuck? Is it from the subscribe to convert phase? Are you getting a ton of people that are subscribing, but not a lot of people who are transitioning from subscriber to buyer? Then that's where you should start. That's where you should focus. Are you getting a lot of low dollar buyers, but you're not getting people that are ascending, right? People who are moving on and becoming rabid buyers and fans and promoters. If that's the case, then start there. So this is the thing that I want you to write down. The goal of email marketing is to assist and expedite in moving a customer from one stage of the value journey to the next. So here's the value journey. How many of you guys saw Ryan talk about this in the first couple of opening keynotes? Okay, we're gonna be referencing back to this a lot because this is your business, right? This is the mechanics, this is the game board that your customers are going through from I don't know who the heck you are, to not only do I know you, and not only have you affected my life, but you've affected it so much that I'm telling everyone I know about you. So if this is the game board we're playing, email is one of the pieces that you can use to expedite this journey. So, question. The first question I want you guys to have an answer to is, what types of emails are needed to move a customer through each stage of this journey? All right, so there are 3 types of emails that you're going to use. Likely, you're already using each type, but we're gonna talk about ways to maybe use it a little bit better to get some better results from that. So the first is a transactional email. So a lot of companies send transactional emails and just keep them as that, transactional. They don't add anything to them, and I'll show you why that's likely a mistake. The second type is relational, right? Relational emails. So emails, and we'll break down each one of these, but relational emails. Then promotional emails. Most companies kind of focus on number 1 and number 3. Promotional emails and transactional emails, and skip everything in between. It's difficult to get someone excited about you and your brand if you're not adding value, but you're only asking for things, right? So we'll make sure that we're talking about how you can focus on relational emails to expedite this customer journey. So, email marketing fact number 1, the average revenue per transactional email is 2 to 5 times higher than per promotional email. So think about that for a second. Transactional emails, 2 to 5 times higher than promotional or standard bulk email. This is a report from Experian. So let's talk about the types of transactional emails. Order confirmations. How many of you guys are asking anyone to do anything else on the confirmation email, on the receipt, right? On the receipt. You know, the open rate of a receipt or confirmation email is about 5 times higher than the open rate of a random email, because they've just given you money. Your customer has just given you money for something, and they want to make sure that they were charged the appropriate amount and that they know when to expect delivery. So you have a captive audience, and most people do nothing with that, right? After you've finished the transaction, after you've told them what to expect, after you've shown them that you followed through on your commitment of charging them what you said you were going to charge them, you've fundamentally completed that transaction, and they're excited. So this is a great time to add an additional offer, to ask for a referral, right? Start thinking about ways to maximize these transactional emails. So order confirmations, purchase receipts, shipping notices. The second most excited a customer will get about your product if you're in e-commerce, after they've bought it and when they know that it's on its way. Those are 2 times that they're super excited about you and your brand before they've ever held your product in your hand. So what could you ask them to do that could expedite that customer journey, right? Could they tell their friends? Could they share it on social media? Start thinking about the emails that you're already sending, and a lot of them are system-generated emails. Like, what could you be doing with these emails to move people through that customer journey, to enable them to become referral partners, ambassadors, promoters of your brand? Account creation emails, right? Whether it's a free account or a premium account creation, once they've created their account, you send them their login information. This is another great time that they're excited. You've followed through on your commitment of a transaction, and it's appropriate to ask them to share that level of excitement with their friends. Return confirmation. This is one that most people wouldn't think about, right? If you have a return confirmation, or if someone requests an RMA, if you're in the physical products business, this is a fantastic time to make them an offer, right? Give them a coupon. They are likely not very excited because they're returning the product, but if you handle this effectively and efficiently, when they ask for the return and you allow them to return it, they may not be excited about the product that they initially bought, but they are excited about you and the brand that you're following through on a commitment to their happiness. So it's a great time to get them re-engaged in maybe a different product. So they could claim a coupon code, right? Get them to claim a coupon code, get them to click something to go over and either get a bigger discount on something else, or apply that refund amount, maybe double the refund amount on another purchase. So it's a great time to get them to re-engage with the brand when they've just asked for money back. Support tickets, the same thing here. Just like return confirmations, if someone's received great support, you can then ask them to do something else. Password reminders and unsubscribe confirmations. Everyone in this room is likely sending at least 2 or 3 of these. If you do nothing tonight or when you go home, but just figure out some offer, some ask that you could put in of all your transactional emails. How much growth would that add to your business? How much more movement would you get through that customer journey? So see, email marketing, you don't have to do a lot to see big movement, right? The very small things can have very big effects. So fun fact number 2, companies using email to nurture leads generate 50% more sales-ready leads at 33% lower cost. How many of you guys have traditional salespeople in your organizations right now? We've added a sales component to our digital marketer team, and I'll tell you, we don't do outbound. We have inbound, so people request conversations with our sales team, and we use email to generate that. Right, so we're using nurture campaigns to generate inbound requests for people to actually speak to our salespeople and close sales. So let's talk a little bit about the types of relational emails that you guys should be using, either to generate sales-ready leads for traditional sales floors or sales-ready leads for online purchases. Obviously, a new subscriber welcome email. We're going to talk a lot about this as it pertains to indoctrination. This is the first type of relational email you are sending. Right, the goal of any indoctrination campaign for a new subscriber is to introduce them to your brand, to tell them what they can expect, and to make sure that they know how your brand is going to better their life. Right, what value are you going to add, and when are you going to add it? Gated content delivery. If someone's requested a gated piece of content and you deliver it, again, think of this as a successful completion of a free transaction. They're likely very excited. You followed through on a commitment, so make sure that you're leveraging, not only are you sending these emails, but you're thinking, what's next? What should I be asking them to do next? What's the next logical step? And how am I asking that right now? Newsletters and blog articles, videos, whatever content you're creating, you should be using emails to distribute this to people, no matter what phase of the value journey they're in. All right, no matter what phase, make sure that you're continuing to add value to your subscribers' lives, even more than you're asking them for money. Webinar confirmation or event confirmation, if someone's signing up for something, think of these things as transactions. Get psychological for a minute. What do you expect people to do if they've made a commitment to you? Follow through. If you register for a webinar, you expect the next logical step in that transaction is you're going to get the confirmation email. The same thing with gated content. So if you're not following through on the commitments that your subscribers are expecting you to make on a free basis, they have no reason to believe that you'll follow through on commitments on a paid transaction. So surveys, reviews, social updates, contest announcements, great way to get your subscribers excited and to move them through the customer journey, and referral requests. Right, referral requests. Let's talk about one more thing. 66% of consumers have made a purchase online as a direct result of an email marketing message. I happen to believe that even though the Direct Marketing Association says this, that they're likely wrong. Has anyone here never clicked an email and then bought something afterwards? No. Right. Most of us make a lot of online purchases by clicking emails and buying them. So let's talk about promotional emails that you should be sending. Promotional content. This is something that someone on your team, likely in the editorial department, should get really good at doing. How are you taking content emails and promotional emails and mixing them and blending them together? Promotional content, creating something that's both valuable and generates direct sales. New gated content, so if you're taking and you're producing ungated free content, you're distributing that content as relational content to your email list. How are you taking the best performing content, adding to it and making it gated content, and then distributing that to your email list to get them re-engaged and move them on in the customer journey? A sale announcement, these are the highest engagement rate emails. You want to make a bunch of sales, have a sale. New product release, think about the stages of the customer journey. If you guys have a bunch of people that are excited about the brand and you have people that have moved into the promoter phase, then those are also your hyper buyers. They're your hyper responders. You have to make sure that you're producing new content, new products to support those hyper buyers. As you move customers through each stage of this journey, you need to know what percentage of your database is in which phase. Because if you're focusing all your efforts on new product creation, sourcing new products or new content creation, and most of your people are in the subscribe phase, you don't need new products. You likely don't need new services. You need to show the people who are in that phase the existing products and services you have. But if you flip that and you have a very high makeup of your subscriber base that's in that promoter phase, then they're also likely hyper buyers. And if you're not producing new content and new products, you're giving them nothing to buy, because they've likely bought most of the things that you've offered them, or they've already said no. So think about what percentage of my database is in which phase of this value journey, and am I supporting them in the goals and the activities of my company on a day-to-day basis? All right, so webinar announcements, event announcements, we send a lot of those to get you and 4,200 other people just like you to this event. Trial offers, if you're in any type of software or subscription model, and upgrade offers, right? Upgrade offers, especially if someone is in the ascend phase. All right, so here's a question. When should you send each type of email, and who should you send it to? There are only two types of emails that you should be broadcasting to your entire database. This is another big mistake I see. People that really want to maximize their email marketing efforts, what you should look at is, am I sending the exact same email to everyone every time I send an email, right? Am I just sending a broadcast to everyone regardless of what they're interested in, how they've interacted with my emails, and where they're at in the value journey? If so, you should stop, right? You only need to be broadcasting promotions and content, and everything else should be triggered by a specific action or behavior, right? Massive promotions should be broadcast. Content should be broadcast, even though you should be segmenting your promotions. Every other type, transactional and even promotional, should be triggered by an action that your subscriber's taking and engaging with your emails. Here's a big warning. Just because you can trigger a message doesn't mean you should. In the same way that we see people under segment and under automate their emails, it's very easy to get addicted to the automation, build super long, super complex campaigns, and then over automate. What happens there is you're forcing your subscribers to get stuck in different phases of your value journey, right? You're actually causing them to get stuck there and holding them in a loop and not moving them on, because if the automation's set, you have no way to look deep at your analytics and see what's happening. So let's talk about the triggering that does work. Obviously, subscriber welcome. Anytime someone it comes to your brand for the first time, focus on automating that indoctrination, automating that introduction. Again, this is one of the most important types of communications you'll send. When someone is having that first engagement with your brand, you have to very, very quickly indoctrinate them. Tell them in a very clear manner why they should be there, what they're going to benefit from by being your subscriber, how often you're going to email them, what you're going to tell them when you email them. Because if they can't clearly articulate the value you add to their lives, they're only going to build up resentment as you continue to email them. So new subscriber welcomes, lead magnet, delivery, registration confirmations, purchase receipts. We've talked about a lot of these things. Segmented promos, right? So we said there's only two types of things you should broadcast. One should be a promotion. If you're doing promotional content, right, a strategy we talked about a second ago, you're sending out promotional content. One of the things you can do is only have a direct promo triggered to go to anyone who engages with that content. So you send out promotional content about something, someone reads, engages, clicks, that would then trigger a campaign. Because this person has expressed interest by engaging with that email, now you activate another promo that's a more direct promo, and you're making sure that everyone who cares is going down that journey and continuing on, and everyone who doesn't, and they told you this by not engaging with the email, here's nothing else about it, right? Nothing else about it. Referral requests, cart abandonment, you want to increase your sales, focus a lot of time on getting people to continue where they stopped. The people that are stuck right there and add to cart but didn't complete, They are the highest value segment in your customer journey and moving them from subscriber to convert. So focus some time there and really make sure that you can automate that. And then re-engagement, which is something that we're going to talk about. Re-engagement's a big, big deal. So let's talk about the method, right? So we talked a lot about transactional stuff, the method, the principles of well-executed email marketing strategy. There are 5 phases of email marketing. So write these down. I'm going to move pretty quickly. So like I said, it's a lot to cover, and we're running out of time. The first phase is indoctrination. Again, one of the most important things you must do is indoctrinate new subscribers to your brand. The second phase is engagement. The third phase is ascension. The fourth phase is segmentation. And the final phase is re-engagement. And this is a phase that hopefully you don't get to, but you will with a large segment of your list. So an indoctrination campaign. Indoctrination campaign is a triggered campaign sent immediately following the initial subscription that's designed to engender the brand to the new subscriber, right? You need them to understand the value that you're going to provide and why they should be excited about you and your brand. Next is the engagement campaign. This is an interest-based triggered campaign sent immediately following an action designed to make a relevant offer, hopefully a sale, to your subscriber. So again, we're talking about a triggered campaign. They've done something, they've engaged with your brand. The next relevant step is to do something. They didn't do it immediately, so you're going to trigger a campaign to get them to do that or take that next step. The ascension campaign. This is an interest-based triggered campaign sent immediately following an action designed to make a relevant sale. Again, should sound very familiar. Segmentation campaign. This is one of the only campaign types that's going to be broadcast. The other types we're talking about are triggered campaigns. So a manual campaign sent to your entire database or a large segment of as a promotion that's designed to segment your subscribers by interest. Think about that for a minute. The goal of your broadcast emails should be to segment your subscribers by interest, to get them to raise their hand and say, yes, I'm more interested in that topic than some of the others. And when they've done that, you should continue to speak to them about the thing that they're interested in right now. If you listen to what they're saying, they'll give you more money, right? If you listen to what people want, they'll engage with your brand more. What most people do is say, I'm going to send 9 emails about this thing, and whether they open the email, click the email, or don't do a thing, I'm going to keep sending the emails. If you'll focus on sending more emails to the people who are engaging and less emails to the people that aren't, you'll make more sales. It's counterintuitive. So the re-engagement campaign, this is a triggered campaign sent to any subscriber who has not opened or clicked an email in the last 30 to 60 days. All right, 30 to 60 days. If someone's not engaging with your brand, you need to do 2 things. One, you need to reach out and try to get them to re-engage. You need them to take action. You need them to start opening and clicking your emails. And if they don't, you need to stop emailing them. So this campaign's very important. Back to the customer journey steps. Think about the 5 phases of email marketing, how they overlay into this value journey, right? Once someone's become aware and engaged with your brand and they're subscribing, our job is to get them to convert, get them excited, ascend, have them become an advocate, and then eventually, hopefully, become a promoter. Leveraging these 5 phases of email marketing, you can quickly expedite this journey. So let's just break down each of these roles very quickly. The role of the indoctrination campaign is to welcome new subscribers, tell them what they can expect, and what they need to do to get the biggest benefit from you and your brand. Think about that for a minute. Here is how you get the most benefit from me. I'm going to be here. I'm going to add value to your life. I'm going to send you emails 3 times a week with information about this because you requested it. Here's what you need to do to get the most benefit out of it. Be authoritative, right? When you tell someone what to do and they do it, there's only a couple other people in their lives that have ever done that. Teachers, bosses, coaches. There's something very psychological about having that authority and starting to have them move things around. When I do this, you open the email. When I ask you to do this, you white label my email. If you can start to get them to follow through on the actions based on the prescription that you've given them, you will see that that carries through into purchases as well. This is what most people need to learn. This is what is not happening when a new subscriber engages with your brand. They are not sitting by their computer or staring at their phone, waiting to get that next email from you. This never happens. In fact, the first few times you email them, if you don't do a good job of indoctrinating them, they likely don't yet recognize your name in their inbox or look for you to send them more content. If you're not engaging and indoctrinating your people immediately, then you lose them, right? They don't know who you are. If you immediately get a new subscriber, add them to your broadcast list, and just start talking to them like you're speaking to everyone else, you haven't established that relationship. You're asking for things that you haven't earned, and they will not engage. So let's storyboard out a quick indoctrination campaign. Let's talk about what we need to do here. Step one in this campaign, we need to welcome and introduce new subscribers to your brand. Step two, restate the benefits of being a subscriber. If you can't put down in 3 to 4 bullet points the benefit of them being on your email list, then how do you expect to articulate the benefit of them giving you money and you, in exchange, adding equivalent or greater value? Tell them what to expect, right? Life is about communication and setting expectations and then living up to those. So tell your subscribers what to expect. We say something really thoughtful, like 2 to 3 times a week, we're gonna send you brand new content and strategies on email marketing, on digital marketing. Mind-blowing. 2 to 3 times a week, we're gonna send you an email. When you get that email, create a special folder and put it in there, because when you are looking for a strategy that works on driving new email clicks or getting more opens, you're gonna wanna be able to access this information. So here's what we're gonna do. Here's what you need to do after we've done it. Tell them what to do next. Encourage whitelisting. You need to say that your information, even your free information, is very important. And if they're not getting it, they're losing out, right? Create a folder. Don't auto-archive any of my messages, but create a folder and whitelist this email address. Whether it's brand new content or a subscriber-only sale, you don't want to miss this. Put your best foot forward, right? You want to lead with a best of campaign. So if you're creating content to send to your subscribers, the best thing to show your new subscribers is the content that your existing subscribers engaged with the most. What is your highest shared content, whether it's a video or a blog post, right? What is your highest commented Facebook post or Facebook Live? What do you have that people really, really love when they engage with? Send it to your new people. This is a first date. Treat it like a first date. Show up in your best clothes, tell your best stories, and make sure that you have a repeatable process for having your subscribers really build up some affinity to your brand. All right, so let's move quickly through the engagement campaign. So the role of the engagement campaign is to turn that new subscriber into a buyer by prescribing the next logical step based on what you know they're currently interested in. You should know what they're currently interested in, because if you're driving paid traffic and paid acquisition, you're driving them to a specific piece of gated content, right? They're engaging with a specific piece of content, and you need to base what you know on their interest on what they just engaged with and speak to them more about that. Now, don't over-segment and say, well, this person is only interested in this because this is the type of content they engaged with. That's what they're interested right now. So let's speak more to them about it right now, and then later, if they stop engaging with it, we'll speak to them about something else. So let's storyboard this campaign out. When you're writing your engagement campaign, you need to write something that's a conversation that's turning subscribers into buyers. The goal of this is to take a subscriber, to reference that previous positive action, and then tell them the next logical action that ends in a purchase. You need to overcome or inoculate against known objections. This is where most people get this wrong. Don't focus on feature set when you're trying to move someone through. Don't always speak about just the tactical lever pulling things that you're providing. Know the objections to your product that your ideal customer has and overcome them in this email. Inoculate against any misconceptions. Prescribe the next logical step. And then finally, so many people miss this. in their emails. Ask them to buy. Don't start a relationship where you never ask someone to do something. Don't start a relationship where you're only adding value and never asking for anything, because the longer you wait, the weirder it's going to be. If we meet and for 2 years, all I'm doing is sending you cool stuff or dropping off gifts at your house, and then 2 years later, I ask you for money, it might seem odd, especially if I start doing it every week. And that's what we do to our email marketing lists, right? We'll start adding value, and we'll add value, and we'll give free stuff, and we'll give free stuff, and here's a free video, and here's a free article, and then about 6 months later, we'll ask them for money. And then we'll do that every day for about 6 months and send them less and less content and wonder why we're not getting results. So make sure that you're setting the appropriate expectations, and when you've added value, you're not afraid to ask them for that transaction. Once they make the transaction, once we've gotten them to become a buyer, we want to focus on the Ascension campaign. The role of the Ascension campaign is to expedite and accelerate the value journey and turn new buyers into multi-buyers. So let's storyboard this out real quick. This is the most important part of an Ascension campaign. You should reference the previous positive action. Now, always reference positive and ignore negative in your email copy. I'll see a lot of people say, well, I noticed that you didn't buy this, so I'm sending you this email. Nope, don't do that. We only reference positive actions that our subscribers have done, not negative ones. Again, we need to overcome or inoculate against known objections. We're still trying to do the same thing to get these people to extend and expedite through this journey, prescribe the next logical step. Our goal is to turn ordinary buyers into multi-buyers. So think about where this is in the value journey. We're in the excite and ascend stage. If you're not exciting them, if you're not continuing to articulate the value that you're adding and how that's going to benefit them in their lives, you're not going to ascend them. So make sure that when you're putting these campaigns together, that you're focused on that. This campaign should also increase your authority and the trust they feel for your brand. And it should ascend them from a customer into a raving fan. Again, think of the goal of email marketing is to expedite that journey. So if you're not thinking about where they're at and where you want them to go at every phase, then you're missing the point. Now it's time to ask yourself 2 very important questions. The first question is, what's the next step I want this person to take? And the second question, which is where most people miss, do I have any reason to believe that they are ready to take that step? So if someone's just been introduced and made aware of your brand, if they've expedited their journey and they've gone from aware to engage to subscribe to convert to now they're maybe ready to ascend, what is the next logical step? And is it appropriate in the relationship to ask them to take it? That's the question you have to ask before you put the next campaign together, because I'll tell you, it does hurt to ask. Right? It does. If we just met and I said, hey, can I buy you a drink? And you said yes. And I said, that's great. And we had a conversation for a couple of minutes and said, would you just like to get married? Would that hurt to ask? Only to a sane person, right? They're likely not going to go, no, but I would like to go to dinner. No, they're going to say, yeah, no, you're crazy and I'm leaving now. And they're never going to open your email again. So make sure that you're following the appropriate relational phases here. If they're not ready to take the next step that you want them to take, don't ask, right? Don't ask. Go in and nurture that subscriber. So let's talk about the role of the segmentation campaign. It's to pique the interest of subscribers who got stuck on their journey, right? Subscribers who got stuck. Think about that, the value journey. If they get stuck, you want to use the segmentation campaign to continue their journey all the way up to hopefully promoter. So here's how you storyboard this. Segmentation campaign, obviously all about segmentation. We talked about promotional content. When you're segmenting your list, use content, use blog posts, use video, use gated content, and then when they're engaging with that content, send them more promotional material based on that to move them through the rest of the customer journey. Use special offers right? Coupons work, sales work. When you have a large segment or a large demographic stuck in the subscribe or the excite phase, you need to give them extremely valuable and time-sensitive reasons to expedite. Think about the reasons, or think about Groupon for a second, right? Groupon's an entire business that gets you to do stuff that you likely don't need right now, right? They get you to buy things, trips, or widgets that you don't need right now because they're on sale. Do you have any reason to believe that if you know your ideal customer, if they're on your list, you can't use the same methodology to get them to take action now by leveraging a sale? This is one of the most powerful things that you can do. Use events, right? Use events to get people to move through the customer journey. Your time is either the second, and in most cases, the first most valuable form of currency you have. If your subscriber's stuck somewhere in the value journey and you can get them to invest some time in speaking to you in a webinar, in a seminar, on a demo, on the phone, you can likely get them excited and get them to ascend. Now, what if they don't open your emails? What if people aren't engaging with all these different things that you're doing? That's where the re-engagement campaign comes in. The goal of this campaign is to call out inactive subscribers, get them to start engaging with your emails again, and this is the most important part, to get them excited about you and your brand again. Because if they're not excited about you and your brand, then you're just collecting email addresses. So storyboarding this campaign, call out your inactive subscribers, anyone who hasn't opened or clicked in 30 to 60 days. Encourage them to re-engage with your emails. Now, this sounds overly simplified, but it's not. You can say something super sneaky like, I've noticed you haven't been opening or clicking my emails, and I just wanted to send an email and ask, is everything okay? When you initially requested I start sending you emails, I promised you that I'd do this, this, and this many times a week. I've continued to do it, but I've noticed that you haven't held up your end of the bargain. If you send these emails to people, you're actually fighting for a relationship. You're showing that you care, and you're also just telling them in a gentle manner that, hey, I've followed through on my part of the commitment. I need you to do the same thing. Remind them of the benefits of being a subscriber. Tell them what they've missed. In the same way, if you're engaging or indoctrinating a new subscriber with your best stuff, take your next best stuff and show it to the people who aren't currently engaging with your brand but at one point did. Remind them why you're important in their lives. This will lower your complaints and increase your deliverability, okay? If most of you went home and just did two things, added some sort of ask to your transactional emails and put a re-engagement campaign in place, you would likely double the results you're seeing from your email marketing right now. So what if the re-engagement campaign doesn't work? Stop emailing them. They're not worth anything to you anyway. The only thing they're doing is harming your deliverability, and the people who want to receive your emails and who are engaging will start to receive less of them, because email deliverability is fundamentally based on the engagement that you have with your list. The higher the engagement, the higher the deliverability. The lower the engagement, the lower the deliverability. Okay, we're gonna fly through metrics. So email performance metrics. List growth. You should have an on-off report. How many people did I add to my list? How many people did I lose from my list? Email delivery rate, right? Email delivery rate. I sent 1 million emails on this email. 800,000 of them got through. I had an 80% email delivery rate. That wouldn't be great, by the way. You wanna be 95 plus on your email delivery rate. Email open rate, email click-through rate, email unsubscribe and complaint rate. And oddly enough, your email delivery rate will go up if your email open rate, email click rate go up and your unsubscribe rate goes down, because again, email deliverability, the highest weighted metric on that is your engagement. So we're gonna go over the roles. So who in your organization should be trained in email marketing? Right, 3 different roles that need to be proficient and understand the role of email marketing and able to deploy it in your business. Number 1, your marketing team, right? Especially your monetization team. So marketing and monetization, sales and editorial. Sales needs to understand how to use email to generate sales-ready conversations. Marketing needs to know how to use emails to get people to move through the customer journey, and editorial needs to use email to distribute the content they're creating so you can follow through on your commitment to continue to add value to your subscribers' lives. Okay, almost there. So the certification. Thinking about those 3 roles in your company, the one question I do want you to answer, or at least tell yourself, who in your organization should be responsible for the email marketing. Email marketing certification and masterclass, like I said, it's about 12 hours of content, so almost impossible to go through here. And I'll tell you the amount of stuff that we left out, had to leave out of this, I can't even list, but it's some of the most important things, right? So your promotional planning, your calendar architecture, email copywriting, open and click enhancers. So the things that someone on your team needs to know. So here's your quick course overview. We cover the role of email marketing. We cover creating the perfect promotional calendar, email campaign creation, so a deep dive into how are we creating these different campaigns, copywriting and design, optimizing opens and clicks, tracking and measuring results, email deliverability, and finally there's testing and certification. So one of the last questions I'll ask you is who's uniquely responsible for email marketing in your organization, and which training and certification path is right for them. If you're here, you should stop by the DigitalMarketer booth. If you have that person's name in mind and it's an individual, you should look at getting the email marketing mastery certification. If you'd like to have your entire team trained and cross-trained, I would invite you to look at DigitalMarketer HQ. If you'll stop by the DigitalMarketer booth today, they can get you set up with a 14-day trial for the low, low price of free. And that's all I have with 2 minutes over. So I'll be taking questions at the booth later on. Thank you, guys.